Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about something you may think a little bit oblique or a little bit different, and it's called the subject of introversion and the fact that I am a very introverted person. And introversion is often connected with satisfying your own interests. It might come across as somebody being somewhat egocentric or self-centered. I don't consider myself a self-centered person. I consider myself someone that still has certain selflessness qualities in me, selfless qualities, and kind, benevolent qualities. I think I still like to help others, but a lot of my interests may be predominantly connected with me. And I don't see myself as a shy person, and because I could be outgoing with certain people at certain times. I have the ability to speak up when I want to. And the thing about it is, on being introverted, it really, on the one negative side, is that I really have not been really expanded upon maybe my horizons in terms of people and in terms of maybe going out and socializing a little bit more. I think a lot of that may be connected with the fact that I'm of the internet, and maybe I'm dominated by that to some degree. A lot of you may know on my other channel, one of my other channels, I do the astrology videos, which I'm really infatuated with astrology, as many of you may know. And during the football season, primarily, I do NFL videos, or mainly NFL prediction videos. I might periodically put an NFL video up at a time, perhaps when it's not during the season, but majority of them are during during the regular season and postseason. I do a lot of prediction videos right before the season, divisional previews, but mainly most of them are during the season, most of the NFL videos. And the thing is, that does take up a certain amount of time, and my general life situation now is such where it's very hard to be more gregarious in terms of going out and meeting other people, because a lot of it, what prohibits me, is the financial situation. Many of you may know I've talked about it before, which is not very good. And the thing about it is, being introverted, I feel like, well, I have to make a lot of my own happiness. A lot of the people in my own community, I would maybe condemned or ostracized, might be a harsh word to describe what I think people have done, but I think a lot of people have not given me an opportunity in the area that I live in. Many of you may know I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Maybe a lot of it is attributed to the fact maybe people suspect that I'm from up north, which I am. A lot of you may know I'm from New York originally, and I'm wondering if that might play a role. A lot of people don't agree with this, but I think when you're from this particular area, I think you have a better chance as opposed to being an outsider. Now, that being said, the thing about with me is, as I stated before, being introverted, a lot of it is just trying to create my own happiness in my own sphere, in my own world. A lot of it's because a lot of people have not given me that opportunity to really get to know them. So the thing is, I do thank God for having Facebook and having social media, because that's really my main interaction as far as talking to people. And I don't drive. Many of you may know I have irrevocable nerve damage to my arms, which prohibits me from operating a motor vehicle. And that, a lot of that is attributed strongly also to me not getting out and around as much as I do. I have had to rely on public transportation for a lot of my commuting. Once in a while, a friend will give me a ride or something to the store, but other than that, it's very difficult. And when you're in a situation like I'm in, and you have your living situation coupled with your monetary situation is limited, things can become difficult. It's not like I can go into some nightclub and say, "Oh, hey, how are you? Would you like to come back to my place? Would you like to take the bus, or would you like to walk?" So you understand where I'm going with that. It can become very difficult. And yes, you've heard me state a number of times about being a really somewhat superficial, materialistic society. That does play a role, but I understand women generally don't want to be with somebody that doesn't have the ability to drive, or really a way to get around in an easier manner, so to speak. So the thing, women want things to be more convenient and not have everything take so long and time consuming, and I respect and understand that. Now, and on being introverted, I have really, I guess the one positive thing with that is that it's given me more time to accomplish certain things connected with my astrology videos and videos like the one I'm doing now, then some non-astrology videos, which I put, as you know, this channel I do, I call this the Potpourri channel because the Zodiac Man 2007 channel is like the variety channel. I just, as you know, I have videos on various subjects. So the thing about it is, and those other people out there that may be introverted, I can completely relate to, because I admittingly, I acknowledge I am an introvert. There's no way I could say I'm an extrovert, so because I don't really go out a whole lot. To be very honest and frank with you, a lot of people might think this is odd. I'm probably inside. I don't know if it's 90% of the time, but it's probably not far from it. It's probably a minimum of 80%, I believe, of the time I am actually inside my home. And that really, it might be perplexing to some people, but when you don't really have the opportunity to do many things outside, I can't engage in extracurricular sports activities because of the problems I have, like I stated, with my arms and really any vigorous sports activity I cannot engage in, and there's really most sports I cannot really do anymore, unfortunately. So it's about, really, as far as introverts go and the others out there, I mean, you can relate and understand about making your own enjoyment, and a lot of it for me has been computer related activities. And I look at it like, if you're introverted like me, if you have a way to get online and you're able to maybe play some games or something and go on a site where maybe you could have like one of those interactive game situations. I don't know what sites they are, but you may want to Google it. And the thing about it is, I used to go on to that website more frequently, called meetme.com. A lot of you may know it was formerly myyearbook.com, and they had they had a plethora of games that were on there, and you could interact with others, but they don't have them anymore. But I'm sure there are other sites that have them. I would look into that, because you could have enjoyment by playing games and interacting with others at the same time. Facebook has some games as well on it, I believe, and where you could have interaction with others, and at the same time simultaneously playing a game that you may like, and also perhaps meet friends. So it's not like the situation is hopeless. If you're in a situation where you're basically, you won't want to say forced to be introverted, but what happens is, you might have certain situations, like with me, with the physical limitations that maybe prevent you from doing things too much outside, and you're almost forced to maybe stay in a little bit more, or the situation is such where your main things of enjoyment, unfortunately, might be more associated with indoor activities, due to the fact you might not be able to perform a lot of things as far as outdoor activities go. So the reality is, find your own enjoyment somehow. If it hasn't worked with me, I've gone on to a number of dating sites and I can't find anybody there, but doesn't mean it's hopeless for everybody. With me, I'm 45 years old. I think that does play it figures prominently in maybe my lack of success with that, plus my lower income level. But if you're out there and you think you can do something with that, and you're single and you're looking for someone, then go on. You might want to investigate the dating sites as well. There's also websites, I don't know if it's still around or not. There was one called Friend Finder as well. And of course on Facebook you can meet, there might be people that you may meet on there with like interests. Um, the thing about it too is if you're um, if you're online, the social media could be good. You always have to be careful, of course, who you befriend. And the thing about it is you can also on Facebook they have you could go into the Facebook search box and type in something that might interest you. Like for instance, there was something for people that were interested in like Stratomatic sports, and I believe there's a Stratomatic Facebook page. So you could just kind of go and peruse and see. Type in an interest and see if there's a page for it, and especially one where you can interact with other members on it, something that's associated with maybe a hobby or interest of yours. And that's the way you can meet maybe some people online. So those are some things to maybe possibly consider as far as that goes. And I think when you're introverted, I don't think it necessarily means a person is shy. It just means they're kind of engrossed in their own things and what they're doing. And in many cases, it results of them being not inside more as opposed to being outside. And really, that's what it is. I don't think I'm oblivious to everybody else by any means, but yes, to some degree, I may be dominated by my own sphere and what I'm doing because I simply don't have hardly anybody else in my life, and a lot of it is associated with that. It's not so much that I'm being cold or callous. It just if you don't really have many people, there's really nothing else you're going to really be able to do except do things that are connected with your own interests, I believe. So when there's more, if more people come into my life, I'd be maybe be more than happy to try to do some things for them. But at the same time, one must remember that we do have to take care of our own interests as well, because if we don't do that, generally nobody else is going to. Well, anyway, people, that's pretty much what I wanted to get on as far as the subject of introversion, and as far as how I am as far as being an introvert. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.